Hey y'all, my name is Cayla and welcome to my cozy, chaotic corner of the internet. So, in today's video, we are going to be talking about 2024 new releases specifically for springtime. I know I've seen a lot of people on the internet when they're talking about new releases, they're either talking about for the full year, they're talking about per month, or they're talking about by quarter. And I'm a person who just loves to see trends. Do I do anything with that data analysis? No, but I just like seeing trends and kind of seeing what's going on. I wanted to do it specifically by seasons because I don't know about y'all, but for the most part, I'm very much a mood reader. And seasons and the weather has a lot to do with each person's individual mood. During the spring and summer, I just want something light and breezy and maybe even something a little epic. If you don't know, the spring season is specifically from March 19th to June 20th. So I'm going to be talking about every new release that is in that specific time allotment. One thing I want to note is I have a good array of genres that we're going to be talking about today, but I don't have any romance specific books. Personally, I don't typically go for the romance genre. Like, I'll read a romance book, but I wouldn't say I actively seek it. That doesn't mean I don't like romance. In fact, a lot of books that I read, I enjoy romance storylines if it makes sense in the book. Hey y'all, editing Cayla here. I just wanted to hop in because I went on an unnecessarily long tangent, but long story short, there were a few romance books that I was interested in. However, they were all released at the beginning of 2024 and were not a part of the spring releases for 2024. And I was really surprised to see the lack of romance books being released in spring. So that's my spiel on romance novels and why there aren't any on this list. Again, that doesn't mean that the books on this list don't have a love interest or a relationship timeline in them. Y'all, and before we get started, I just need to give a little disclaimer. I'm going to do my absolute very best with pronunciations. I feel like for the most part, I can wing it pretty well, but once every blue moon, there's just going to be a word you can't pronounce. So bear with me as we struggle through this together. But with that, let's kick things off with March 19th, the very first day of spring. So we have Floating Hotel by Grace Curtis. This is actually a sci-fi novel, and it is her debut sci-fi novel. Revolves around a luxury hotel that floats around space, traversing the galaxy, offering top-notch service and unrivaled views. The story follows a cast of misfits and rebels raising questions about love poems in the lobby, imperial spies on board, and the true purpose of a mysterious conference. At the heart of it all is Carl, the devoted manager and caretaker of the hotel. As mysteries begin to unfold, Carl has to grapple with the ultimate question: when is it time to really let go? This one just sounds really interesting. I don't know about y'all, but anytime a book has cozy, maybe that's like a trope. Is cozy a trope? If someone says, oh, it's a cozy sci-fi or it's a cozy fantasy, put cozy in it, I'm sold. Next, also releasing on March 19th, is The Mystery Writer by Solari Gentile. So after abandoning her legal career, Theo Benton finds herself immersed in a hidden literary world. When her mentor is murdered, Theo seeks justice, but her brother becomes the prime suspect. To protect him, Theo takes drastic measures, inadvertently unraveling the foundation of a literary labyrinth. As secrets emerge, a dangerous game ensues, where a writer's voice becomes a weapon, putting everyone involved at risk. So something I want to note is that Solari Gentile actually wrote a book called The Woman in the Library, and I read that last year, and I really appreciated the book. I did see some not so great reviews about the book, but I personally really enjoyed it. So I am actively just seeking out books by Solari, and the mystery writer is one that's coming out this year. So I'm really excited to check it out and see what it has to offer. Next, we are moving on to March 21st. We have Song of the Huntress by Lucy Holland, and this book is a fantasy novel. Hoping to save her lover, land, and the people from the Romans, Erla makes a desperate pact with the king of the other world. Time passes swiftly in his realm, and upon her escape, she discovers that everyone she loved is long dead. Cursed to wield a magical blade, she becomes the lord of the hunt, leading immortal warriors and reaping souls. Centuries later, she encounters Queen Ethelberg of Wessex on a battlefield. Ethel faces challenges in her husband's court, and the fate of Wessex is at stake. As Erla and Ethel's past intertwine, they discover a dark force threatening Britain. The dead kings are awakening, and the other world seeks dominion. Together, they must find a way to break the curse and save their world. This one sounds really interesting because obviously it's intertwining real places like Britain and Rome. I believe this starts initially in 8 AD, if I recall correctly. So that sounds interesting. Very interesting indeed. So I like that kind of like almost historical, realistic factor that's being interwound with obviously the fantasy element. So next we are moving on to March 26th. We have How to Solve Your Murder by Kristen Perrin, and this is a mystery. I feel like anytime there's like murder, mystery, killer, anything like that, it's always going to be in the mystery or thriller genre. In 1965, teenager Frances Adam receives a bone-chilling prediction from a fortune teller at an English county fair. She will be murdered one day. Despite spending a lifetime compiling information on everyone she encounters to prevent her foretold demise, no one takes Frances seriously. Until nearly 60 years later, when she is found dead in her country estate. Now, her great-niece Annie Adams is determined to find and catch the killer. She must navigate the web of secrets and lies left behind by Frances, as every villager in quaint Castle Knoll seems to have a motive for murder. And speaking of thriller and mystery, we have another book being released on March 26th, and it is a thriller. It's called Everyone is Watching by Heather Gudenkoff. This one sounds really fun. This one sounds really fun, so let me tell you about it. 5 contestants have been chosen to compete for $10 million on the game show One Lucky Winner. The catch? None of them knows what or who to expect, and it will be live streamed all over the world. Completely secluded in an estate in Northern California with strict instructions not to leave the property and zero contact with the outside world. The competitors start to feel a little too isolated. When long-kept secrets begin to rise to the surface, the contestants realize this one is no longer just a reality show. Someone is out for blood. And the game can't end until the world knows who the contestants really are. I love a game show thriller. I love it. Last year I read Small Games, and it was based on the story of these people being dropped into like the middle of the woods, and it was pretty much like Naked or Afraid / Survivor, where they were just like kind of left there with 1 or 2 items, and then they had to forage and build everything else, and things took quite a wrong turn. And so I love anything that's kind of like you're just bringing a group of people who don't know each other, never met each other all together, and seeing what happens. Okay, so next is March 28th, and this is where I have a little bit of a disclaimer that I'm going to pop up. Some of the books that I am interested in are part of series, and because I was like researching books coming out during the spring, I found a lot of books that are part of series that I have never read. So I'm not going to read the synopsis for you for these books just because I honestly don't know how much of a spoiler it would give for like the previous books. So with that noted, we have the Weavers of Alamaxa. That is the second part of a duology, and it's by Hadir El-Spy, and it is a fantasy novel. And again, I would read y'all a quick little synopsis or summary of the book, but because I haven't read part 1 of this series, I don't know if there's going to be any spoilers. Now we are heading into April. On April 2nd, we have Neighborhood Watch coming out. It is a mystery by Sarah Rida. And in the upscale suburban neighborhood of Oleander Court, a killer targets its morally bankrupt residents, leading to a wave of paranoia and suspicion. As the bodies pile up, the residents, obsessed with appearances and personal secrets, are forced to confront the possibility that the murderer is someone within their own ranks. That just sounds fun. That just sounds like a fun little mystery. Nothing too traumatizing or scary. It just sounds fun. It sounds like a cozy mystery. At least that's what I got from that synopsis. I don't know about you guys. Let me know in the comments if you got cozy mystery from that. Also on April 2nd, The Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. And this is a fantasy. I know this author is actually really famous for writing another book, and I never read that other book, and I don't remember the name of that other book. And so many people raved about that book. So many people had it as like their top book of 2023. So while that book in particular didn't really interest me, this one sounds intriguing. So Sarah Swan, once a powerful witch, finds herself dealing with the diminished magic ability and in exile from her guild after a series of events involving resurrecting her great aunt and befriending a talking fox. I'm sorry, resurrecting someone gives me like practical magic vibes. So obviously that's a little bit more grim and gruesome, and I don't think her great aunt came back the same way Jimmy did. But carrying on. Now reluctantly running an inn in Lancaster, she longs for her lost magical future. In her quest to regain her powers, she discovers an old spell book with the potential to restore what she has lost. Turning to Luke Larson, a historian and a past one-night stand, Sarah embarks on a journey to unlock the book's mysteries. As she juggles inn management, magical reclamation, and the complexities of an unexpected romance, Sarah realizes she doesn't have to face it all alone. Surrounded by her quirky inn guests and the magical bonds she's formed, she discovers that her unconventional family may have the most powerful magic of all. This just sounds like a cozy little fantasy. I don't know if it's necessarily a book I would want to read in spring/summer. I feel like for me, this is more of like a fall book. But I'm definitely going to keep my eyes on it. We have The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. This is a thriller. In the shadow of her mother's mysterious disappearance 16 years ago, 18-year-old Belle, the sole witness with no memory of the event, wishes to move on. However, when the Price family agrees to a true crime documentary, Rachel Price, presumed dead, reappears with an unbelievable story. I'm sorry. I have so many speculations about this book. And because I have so many speculations just based off of that summary, I'm enthralled. Okay, next we are moving on to April 9th, and we are going to be starting with Ghost Station by S.A. Barnes. This is a horror sci-fi is what it said. I'm going to lean more towards sci-fi, but we'll see. In S.A. Barnes' latest space horror novel, Ghost Station by S.A. Barnes, this is a horror sci-fi novel. In the latest space horror novel, a crew faces the challenges of survival on an ancient abandoned planet. Dr. Ophelia Bray, a dedicated psychologist specializing in the prevention of ERS, a space-based condition, joins the crew with the hope of making a difference. However, as they establish residency, it becomes evident that her crewmates are hiding something. The focus shifts from Ophelia's mission to investigating the mysterious ancient planet, and tensions rise when their pilot is brutally murdered. Okay, next one for April 9th is another part 2 of a duology, and that is The Hemlock Queen by Hannah Whitten. It is a fantasy duology, but just know, sounds interesting. Next, we are moving on to April 16th, where we have While We Were Burning by Sarah Kofi, and this is another thriller. In this scorching debut exploring the intersection of race, class, and female friendship, Elizabeth Smith's life unravels as her best friend mysteriously dies in the Memphis suburbs. Hiring a composed and elegant personal assistant, Brianna, to distract her, Elizabeth finds that Brianna is not just helping with distractions, but is also determined to uncover the truth behind the friend's death. As they hurtle toward a final showdown, the lines between employer and friend blur, revealing that both women are not what they initially appear to be in this heartbreaking and thrilling narrative. Y'all, I just love the thriller. Okay, next we're moving on to April 23rd. We have A Letter to the Luminous Deep by Sylvie Cattrall. And this is a fantasy based, again, on planet Earth. Dive deep into Sylvie Cattrall's enchanting debut, A Letter to the Luminous Deep. Recluse E and scholar Henry Kell embark on a passionate correspondence, exploring mutual interests and love. A mysterious discovery in the depths set them on a transformative journey, yet a sea quake shatters their world, leaving E's sister Sophie and Henry's brother Virion to decipher their siblings' love-filled letters and unravel the mystery that could reshape their lives. This whimsical fantasy dives into a mystical underwater realm, blending mystery and heartwarming romance. You see, guys? See? I enjoy a good romance every once in a while. It's just not the main genre I consume. Okay, y'all. This next book is being released on April 23rd as well. And the title alone. The title I feel like has nothing to do with the book, but the title. This is a fantasy, and it's called The Dead Cat Tail Assassins by P. Deli Clark. Just take that title with a grain of salt. Let's talk about the synopsis. In the ancient city of Talabisi, Aveen the Eviscerator, a skilled and professional assassin, follows 3 unbreakable vows: just contracts, precision in killing only the contracted, and unwavering commitment to completing the job. Sworn to the matron of assassins and resurrected with wiped memories, she faces a challenging mission during the festival of the Clockwork King, bringing her into a confrontation with a past she is not supposed to remember and an unforgettably binding vow. As the city turns upside down, Aveen must navigate her memories and fulfill her mission against the backdrop of the chaotic festival. Love it. We love a chaotic festival. Reading that, for some reason, like, Festival of the Clockwork King, I was thinking of, like, the festivals in Venice and just, like, people wearing Venetian masks and robes. Like, that's just what I have in my head. Okay, next, moving on to May 14th, we have The Dangerous Ones by Lauren Blackwood. This is a historical fantasy. In a romantic historical fantasy set during the American Civil War, Jerusalem, a fearless saint with demigod-like abilities, partners with her battalion to fight against vampires. Allied with Confederates, Jerusalem, having escaped enslavement by a vampire, seeks revenge and justice for her family's murder, while aiming to help Black people gain freedom. Unexpectedly, she teams up with Alexei, an ancient vampire on the Union side, and together they embark on a mission to change the war's course and take down the vampire responsible for the devastation, with Jerusalem's ultimate goal being to kill a god. This was giving, like, Interview with the Vampire vibes. So, we'll see. This one sounds interesting, though. May 21st, we have 2 thrillers that I'm looking forward to. The first one is One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware. So, Ruth Ware serves up a stormy cocktail of suspense in her latest thriller, where 5 couples find themselves on a remote island fighting for survival and a cash prize. Lila and Nico join the cast of The Perfect Couple, expecting tropical paradise but getting a deadly game instead. As tension rises, the island turns from a dream destination to life or death battleground. It's reality TV, but not as you know it. And our next thriller for May 21st is The Last Murder at the End of the World by Stuart Torton. Trapped on an idyllic island shielded from deadly fog, 122 villagers and 3 scientists face an imminent threat when one of the scientists is murdered. With the murder triggering a drop in the island's security system, the fog threatens to engulf them all within 92 hours. Complicating matters even more, the security system erases everyone's memory of the night before, leaving the islanders in a race against time to solve the murder and save their lives. What? So the next 2 books are part of series. So again, for the first one, I'm not going to give a synopsis, but for the second one, I'm going to give like a really brief synopsis because I'll tell you why before I give the synopsis. But June 4th, we have Mirrored Heavens, which is a part of the Between the Earth and Heaven series. It is book 3 of the series. I'm not sure if this is a trilogy or if it's an ongoing series. But first off, we all know I'm a hoe for a good book cover. And I just like this book cover. And this is a sci-fi series as well. So, again, gorgeous cover. Next, on June 6th, we have Killing Time by Jodi Taylor. Again, another sci-fi. And this is part of the Time Police series. And the reason I'm going to give you a synopsis is because just reading the synopsis of all the other books and kind of just like digging into the rest of the series, it kind of feels like these books can be read as a standalone. And I might be completely wrong with that, but that's what it feels like, so I'm going to give like a super brief synopsis on Killing Time. A ghost train lost in time hurtles through the night with 2 members of Team 236 trapped on board, while the third struggles to track their progress through the time map and effect a rescue. With Lieutenant Grint and Team 235 in hot pursuit, what is the future of Team 236, and do they even have one? This is giving... what's the name of that? Hey, hi, editing Cayla again. I just wanted to hop in here real quick because I spent a solid 3 minutes trying to recall the name of a TV show / movie called Snowpiercer. Great movie. Pretty good TV show. 10 out of 10 recommend checking it out. But I thought instead of traumatizing y'all with the 3 minutes it took me to remember the name of that movie / show, I would just hop in here and let you know that I spent 3 minutes trying to recall the name of Snowpiercer. If you've seen the movie or if you've seen the TV series, for some reason anything that has to do with science fiction and trains, that's the kind of vibe I'm getting. June 11th, with One of Our Kind by Nicola Yoon, and this is a thriller. Jasmine and King Williams move their family to Liberty, California, a planned Black utopia seeking a community focused on racial equality. While King embraces the ethos, Jasmine struggles with Liberty's residents who prioritize luxury and ignore societal issues. As Jasmine uncovers a dark secret about Liberty and its founders, the idyllic community threatens to unravel, jeopardizing the Williamses' family in a way they never anticipated. It just sounds good. It just sounds good. That's all I gotta say. It sounds great. And again, thriller. We love a thriller. I love anything where it's like idyllic utopia and there is something sinister happening in the background. Like, that's such a vibe that I really love and appreciate. Also releasing on June 11th, we have Tehrangeles by P. Kapoor. This is a fiction book. I tried to get like a more specific genre, but it was just like contemporary fiction. And I know that fiction is technically a genre, but I don't know. I just want more specificity, and contemporary fiction, I feel like it just doesn't get specific enough. But with that noted, I'm going to read you the synopsis, and you guys let me know what genre you think it should be. Step into the fabulous world of the Milanis, fast food heiresses, LA royalty, and the freshest reality TV addiction. With a McMansion, a snack empire, and 4 sassy daughters, the Milani family is ready to conquer television. But as they teeter on the brink of fame, their hidden secrets threaten to steal the show. From the big-hearted model to the online overachiever, each Milani, even the Persian cat, has skeletons in the closet. Brace yourself for a dramatic, biting, and heartwarming ride through the high-functioning chaos of Tehrangeles, where family dysfunction meets the pursuit of authenticity. That just sounds fun. That just sounds like it sounds like a fun book. It's giving Keeping Up with the Kardashians, but better. We are almost done with this list of most anticipated books for spring 2024. On June 16th, we have The West Passage by Jared Pachekek. It is a fantasy. In The West Passage, a palace the size of a city governed by mysterious giant ladies faces decay and impending doom. When the guardian of the West Passage dies without a successor, chaos ensues as snow blankets gray in summer. Crops fail and a lurking beast threatens all. As the too young mother of the Gray House and the apprentice of deceased Gray Guardian embark on separate quests, their paths intersect on a perilous West Passage, setting the stage for a world-changing journey filled with monsters, miracles, and enigmatic ladies. And finally, last but not least, on June 18th, we have Middle of the Night by Riley Sager, and this is another thriller. In Riley Sager's heart-stopping thriller, Ethan Marsh confronts the chilling disappearance of childhood friend Billy on Hemlock Circle. Decades later, strange events resurface, suggesting Billy's return or a sinister prank. Ethan's quest for truth unravels secrets hidden in the seemingly idyllic neighborhood, leading him into haunted woods and a clandestine institute. As past nightmares resurface, Sager weaves a tale where safety is an illusion and the shadows of the past linger in every quiet street. This definitely pulls like inspiration from quite a few true crime stories that I can think of. Unfortunately, I just can't think of the exact people. If I can find them, I'll pop them up on the screen. But there are a couple different true crime stories I'm thinking of where, like, I feel like definitely gave some inspiration into this story. So this sounds interesting. It's giving the same vibes as not the same vibes, but kind of like the same story premise of the reappearance of Rachel Price, where the mother disappears when Belle is like 2 years old and then reappears 16 years later. Like, that was one of the things with that synopsis where I'm like, is this the same person? Are we sure this is the same person? So it's giving the same kind of sense of like Middle of the Night, where this childhood friend Billy returns all of a sudden and is like, is it really Billy? Very interesting. It sounds like a good year for springtime book releases. Let me know down in the comment section below, what books are you looking forward to in spring, or even throughout the rest of the year? If there's like a book that you're really excited for that's coming out sometime in 2024, drop that in the comment section down below. If you don't know what to comment, just comment a stack of books. Use the little book stack emoji. Also, remember to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and look forward to seeing you guys next week with another video.